We're back with another episode. We're back with another episode of It Says. And how are you guys doing? I'm doing good. I hope you guys had an amazing last week and you're gonna have an amazing this week. Yes, today is Monday. If you're watching on Monday, shout outs to you for tuning in the day of. Make sure you're subscribing. Please subscribe right now. If you clicked on this video, subscribe right now. Period. Purr. I do not want to say purr. I've been saying purr all week and I don't want to say purr. I don't want to be a part of the purr community. Oh my gosh. I gotta get off the shade room. Like, I gotta stay away from Roland Ray. Like, I just don't want to say purr. Like, purr. Like, I really don't want to say purr. I don't know why specifically. I just think it's just like I like when I hear him say it, Roland Ray say it, I think it's mad funny. Purr. Like, I love it, but I don't want to say it. I want to say period. Whatever. The Chronicles of Britney. But, yeah, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, _Instagram. Make sure you're tuning in to, you know, my, clips, everything, you know, just so you could dig deep, dive in, and all that good stuff. Yes, yes, yes. How was my week? My week was cool. I didn't do too much. I didn't do anything interesting really this week. I got a lot planned. Well, I don't have a lot planned. Well, technically I do have some things planned this week. I want to get my hair done. I want to get my nails done. I want to get my feet done and stuff like that or whatever. Next week I have a wedding to go to, so I definitely keep you guys posted on that. And yeah, so it's just like I've been trying to like lay low because remember I told you I kept going out, and then I have things planned this weekend. Hubby's birthday is on Sunday, the week before Sunday. So with that being said too, I'm going to film next week's episode of Brit Says early. So if some hot topics happen and I forget about it or wasn't brought up, that's why, because we filmed early. And thinking about topics of this week, it wasn't that much interesting stuff that happened this week. Like, these celebrities been behaving, honey. The only thing I was like thrown off, but that's not even that big of a deal. This was yesterday too. Was the baby had 2 kids. I didn't know he had 2 kids, honey. Then I didn't get the memo. I didn't get the memo that the baby had 2 kids, bitch. I thought he always had 1 daughter. But the comments too, in the comment section, a lot of people didn't know that he had 2 kids. But yeah, that was my only thing. And then the Floyd Mayweather and the Jake Paul thing. Alright, so okay, I don't care about Jake Paul or Logan Paul. I did love back when white YouTube wasn't so problematic. Well, white YouTube was always problematic, but I did enjoy Jake Paul's documentary with Shane Dawson. So that was the only thing I liked about him. So I was like, oh, okay, he's cool. And I tried to get into his channel and I couldn't get into it. It's just too childish, too just it was reading too white. It was reading white, it was reading weird, it was reading not Britney, you know what I'm saying? So I tried to get into his channel because when I saw the documentary, it made me be like, okay, he's a nice guy, you know. But yeah, he wasn't my cup of tea. So I am privy to him. But yeah, he's ripped Floyd Mayweather's cap off. And y'all peep game, a couple of videos later, his eye was black. His teeth looked like it got knocked out. Like, his shirt was ripped up, honey. I was like, wait, did Floyd Mayweather beat him up or his team get him beat up? Like, because you're not supposed to do stuff like that. So they gotta be careful with that. But I felt kind of bad that he got beat up. But I was wondering if, like, did he like do something to him? Did he like fight him? Because I don't think he's supposed to do stuff like that. But you know, I am I'm one of those people who's like, why would Floyd Mayweather fight? I think he's fighting Logan Paul, not Jake Paul. Like, why would he fight Logan Paul? Because, you know, it is disrespectful to boxing. You know what I'm saying? It is disrespectful to boxing. I'm not the biggest boxing fan out there, but I do understand that it is disrespectful to boxing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, why? But I heard, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure I heard that he's going to get 20 million for that fight. Bitch, I'll fight somebody for 20 million, bitch. Especially if I know Floyd Mayweather. Hello, Floyd Mayweather has never lost a fight. What if he lose this fight? I doubt he's gonna lose this fight. And he better not. He better not. He better not lose this fight. Imagine. Oh. Stop for real. Yeah, that would be terrible if he lost the fight. I doubt it, but I'm just saying, like, what if? You know what I'm saying? That'd be crazy. But yeah. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, I'm kind of like, but I ain't gonna front. Those clips definitely made me want to watch the fight. I'm really like that. I guess I'm mad childish, mad immature. Y'all like, Brittany, you really easily influence, like, entice. But I just think it's gonna be kind of funny because, like, Jake Paul was giving me immature energy. Floyd Mayweather is giving me he could fight, he's serious. And I don't know, I'm just here for the stupidity. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how much that fight costs. I'll probably try to find some way to stream it free. If we decide to watch it, like maybe I'll watch it with Babe. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if I really want to watch it. I'm not sure. I'm not opposed to it though. Like, they made me want to watch the fight. Just based off of watching that clip. I don't know why. I was just like, do I really want to? I kind of want to see that shit. Like, for real, I really felt like that. So, I think Floyd Mayweather is definitely gonna win. You know, people do whatever for money. Like, if you know you could fight and you gonna fight somebody that you really feel confident in beating for 20 mil, then fight it. Sometimes it's not. Well, sometimes it is for the culture. Like, in terms of, like, don't disrespect the sport. Don't disrespect the art of fighting, I guess. Is fighting an art? It can be, I would think. I'm not somebody who... I used to watch wrestling growing up. Because I used to want to do everything my brother did. My brother watched wrestling. So I used to just watch it too. But I was, like, really into it. So I did enjoy watching WWF and WWE. And I do think wrestling could be an art. Like, those little flips that they do and all the crafty stuff. Yeah, definitely. And even, like, kicking and, like, with, what's that? UFC? It looks artsy. Fighting is fighting artsy, like that don't get real. I mean, it's an art because you gotta know how to, like, that's like called a sport though. Sports art? I don't know. Oh, it's getting too analytical. Cause yeah, you gotta know how to, like, duck, dodge, and boom, like That is kind of an art. I would consider it an art in some ways. Yeah, boxing could be an art. You gotta have a certain mind power, like, to just understand energy, just to read when somebody's about to snuff you. Like, you just gotta be like, cause not everybody, if you ain't trained, you ain't ready to know when somebody about to box your shit. Like, some people be getting knocked the fuck out every day. Be like, they be talking, and then somebody's go boop. Like, you ain't see that hit coming. You ain't see that. You ain't feel that hit about to punch you in your face, child. You was too stunned. So I think, yeah, there is an art in boxing, I guess. Yeah, boxing could definitely, and all types of fighting could definitely be an art. So yeah, it can be disrespectful to the art of boxing, you know, to just randomly fight somebody who want to goof around, like. But we don't know. You know, this fight is probably going to generate a lot of views. I know Floyd, I don't think he really cares about having a fan. Well, he cares about having a boxing fan base, but not, like, popularity wise. But Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they live for that shit. And I think him fighting Floyd Mayweather is definitely broadening his audience, because I've been listening to podcasts and stuff like that, and a lot of people that talk about this, they've been talking about this fight. And a lot of them say, I don't really know who Jake Paul is. I heard he's this big YouTube star. So they're introducing their audience to Jake Paul and Logan Paul, you know. And, you know, they're getting a more African-American audience, right? I don't know, you know. That's always good. If you got white people and black people in your vibrato, that's like a big market for you. So I think it's definitely broadening their brand. Like, everybody out here talk about them. I'm a YouTube head, so I know who Jake Paul and Logan Paul is. A lot of people don't know who these people are, and now they do. Like, literally everybody out here talk about this fight is like, I never heard of Jake Paul or Logan Paul, and I'm like, what? Like, they're like one of the biggest YouTube celebrities on YouTube. Like, even if you don't watch them, you know, you've heard that name. Like, when Logan Paul went to the suicide forest in Japan and he did that shit, he made the news. Like, how people don't, like, know these things, I don't know. So, and didn't Jake Paul gain like 1 million subscribers in 6 months or something like that? Is this 6 months? I know it was 6 months. He made like 1 million subscribers or whatever. So those things are like really pinnacle and huge things for, you know, the YouTube community and just influence in general and like marketing, because it's like, it speaks volumes the amount of influence a person can have just through, you know, a platform like YouTube, you know, to make 1 million people gravitate towards you in such a short time span is huge. And yeah, it's gonna broaden his audience, definitely. And if I'm not, does Jake Paul have 10 million subscribers and Logan Paul? I think so. By now they should definitely have that amount of subscribers, probably more. They might hit 20 million, bitch, like at this rate, because their audience is definitely, people probably just like me. When I watched the Shane Dawson documentary, I was like, let me go on his page, and I tried to like his stuff and I went on his page. So I'm pretty sure it's a lot of views heading over to them YouTube channels just to see what he's about, who he is, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. And the scuttlebutt, remember I was doing the scuttlebutt? But what are we talking about today on Brit Says, the podcast? So I was like, I wasn't scared to touch the topic. I just think it's not really sensitive, but it can be sensitive. And it's about misery, being miserable. Misery. I don't know what the name of this podcast is gonna be called, but it's about miserable people. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is, and didn't want to talk about it, because I kind of like hate when people call people miserable. I think it's not nice, but it's sometimes true, you know what I'm saying? I think miserableness or misery, let me say misery, I want to make sure I'm using the right terms, but I might not. I'm Brittany, so I be making up words all the time. But I think that misery in some ways correlates with depression and stuff, so I didn't want to come down on miserable people. And I'm also mad childish, and I find this topic to be a little bit funny. It can be funny. Look, y'all gotta laugh in y'all misery, talking about misery. Like, it's some humor in every little thing in some ways, you know what I'm saying? And when I think of saying stuff about miserable people, it makes me chuckle or whatever. I've been called miserable before. My mother called me miserable before. So we'll jump into all those things or whatever the case may be. But I'm definitely not miserable, because I know you guys see me through the YouTubes and you guys listen to my podcast on the thing. And a lot of times you don't know the type of people that you're listening to and you're streaming and you're watching. And then you're like, her mother called miserable. Oh my gosh, she probably miserable. No, I'm not. This was like maybe during the pandemic, because I was like angry about something, but I was also pregnant. She called a pregnant woman miserable. I forgot. I'm gonna tell y'all the story or whatever, but I wanted to like actually do a expand your mind, because I was like, let me dig into the topic a little bit and let me see, you know, a little bit more about misery, because why not? Like, let's get into it. Hold on. Sorry guys, sorry. Alright, so this is an article on bettertherapy.com called, oh, sorry people. Before most topics, what do we like to do? Expand our minds. Expand your mind, expand your mind, expand your mind. And a topic on bettertherapy.com titled, Why People Often Choose Misery Over Change. So, and this article is written by Rune Moelbach. Ciao. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, human beings are constantly faced with making the choice between two paths. One path that keeps them in the safe and comfortable straits of what they know, and another that entices with a different way of being less restricted and more promising. Which way should I go? Should I stay in comfort zone or venture down the path of novelty? The question becomes heightened for every person who chooses to come to therapy. Okay, so whatever. Not like that. The price we pay for staying safe. The decision to see a therapist is by definition a decision to heed the murmur for deep inside that begs of the person to leave the safety of the familiar and takes a turn towards something new. Why does the person want to do this? Because the familiar, for all its safety, is often also a great source of suffering. A few examples will illustrate this. I live most of the time in my head where I can plan and feel in comfort of my life. But this is also my curse, for I cannot really surrender to my feelings and cannot really feel much passion or excitement in my life. I live most of my life in the pursuit of achievements so I can finally become popular or accepted by others. But the relentless striving is also the source of my sense of being a failure and not being good enough or lovable just the way I am. I bottle up my emotions and consider sadness and the need for others a sign of weakness. But this also keeps me isolated and alone and causes anxiety whenever my sadness is never far around the corner. In these examples, the Faustian bargain to preserve my integrity, my self-esteem, my pride, or my security came at a price. And this price is what brings me to therapy. I am not happy. I am not at peace with myself. I worry and unknown threats from the inside, or look around me and find that my life looks more restricted than that of my friends or my neighbor. So, why do we often choose misery over growth? However, as I enter the therapy room, my sense of safety comforts me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sorry, not to blah, 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 but in addition to and then it says, okay, this last name, Kierkegaard's depression, like my anxiety or your deadness, have been the bedfellows of our lives. For all the misery they bring us, they are, after all, compromises intended to ward off something worse and protect us from the dangers of the life without them. Okay, so this article really talks about, you know, why people choose misery over going to therapy. And the reason why I find that so important is because I feel like most miserable people just need therapy. They just need help, like real talk. But like for them, a miserable person would be a project for a therapist. Like a miserable person, like a miserable is like a tongue twister. A miserable person would be like a 10-year project for a therapist. Like I feel like if a therapist gets a miserable person in their office and they really see change in them, it's like this big achievement for them. Like I feel like most miserable people don't even believe in therapy. Like to even get them in a therapy room would be crazy. Like it would be like, oh my god, did you hear? Blah 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 is in therapy, bitch. Like it would be crazy because miserable people, they just be doing them. But anyway, so let's jump back to me. When I was telling y'all the story, one time my mother called me miserable because I was just pregnant and I was just stressed out and my hormones was just driving me crazy, bitch. And I don't know who watching, I don't know who listening, but somebody had, at the time, alright, so during the pandemic, boom, everybody lost their job, motherfuckers got laid off, boom, boom, boom. Mad niggas got laid off, niggas lost their job. I was one of the people that got laid off, right? So I was pregnant at the time and I wanted a job. I needed money. This is around the time when like we didn't know what was going to happen with unemployment. Like it was like in the middle, like they was like, oh, we gonna give you out an extra 600, but my 600 didn't come in yet. So I'm like, bitch, I need a job. Like I got a baby on the way, period, So my thing was, all my life I was working. Not all my life, I'm acting like this since I was a baby, but once I became an adult, I worked. So I always had connections for working, and I work in retail. Retail is an easy job to get, but if you know somebody, it's really easy to get. Like it's so easy. Like I could go up to my manager today, like any of my old bosses, and be like, yo, I know somebody who need a job, da 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 da. They be like, oh, okay, tell them to come Monday, fill out the paperwork. Like that type of shit, you feel me? And what I realized was a lot of people could come to me for a job, a career move, a push, and I get that. Even though retail is an easy gig, but I still gave your peoples a job. And I felt like my mother, especially, she was the type of person that, like, she always telling my business. Like, oh yeah, like, I get, like, sometimes you want to show your kids accolades, so maybe she just felt like, oh, Brittany work here, Brittany do this, and it's just like, okay, I know you want to tell people, like, oh, Brittany's the manager at the store, and she does this, and she does that, but it's just, like, respect my privacy as well, and that's something that I'm really, really big on, is my privacy, and I'm even more big on it now, and I had a revelation, because my mother would always be like, oh, Brittany, blah, 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 girlfriend need a job. Can you get her a job? And even though I could, you know how you kind of be beefing with your boss at work, or like some people you might not like at the job, and you kind of like at work, you kind of got your own life in a sense. And I'm like, fuck, I don't really want to ask this person for a favor because I'm not fucking with them this week type shit. You know what I'm saying? But then if my mother go and tell this person like, oh, Brittany said they can't hook you up with a job, how that reflect on me and her. You get what I'm saying? But she'd be like, oh, this and that girlfriend need a job. Oh, this and that daughter need a job. Like, and I would really get these people a job. Like, real talk. And so my thing was, when I felt my back was up against the wall, I told my mother, like, yo, you be asking me to get your own uncle, cousin, mother, auntie, sister, brother, auntie, niece, nephew, mad people. It's just not my mom, though. This, give them a job. Make sure they get this job. Oh, fill out paperwork. Do you know if they could work here? If you could do this. But when my back was up against the wall, nobody couldn't help me. So I had a big problem with that. Like, I had a real big problem with that. Like, I had a revelation in the house. And I'm just like, all right, you asked X, Y, and Z for me to give their daughter a job and their girlfriend a job and da-da-da-da. They work somewhere, right? I got a bachelor's. I've been a manager for, what, 5 to 7 years. Can they help me get a job? Like, real talk. Like, let's talk about it. Like, can I get a job at their workplace? Where they work? And this remind me of that freaking TikTok, where they play the, you asked me to give your daughter a job, but could you get me a job? You know the TikTok? Oh my gosh, I don't know the sounds that they use, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you into TikTok, or if you watch reels, anything, y'all have seen this TikTok that I'm talking about when the song changed. But anyway, moving on. But like, I felt like that, and I was just telling her like, yo, I'm in here struggling to look for a new job, and every 5 minutes you telling people I got a job. And I was like, real talk, next time. So I started getting like very Britney, very turned up, very pregnant, very hormonal, very psycho. And I was just like, real talk, don't tell nobody I got a job. I always get all your people's a job, but when my back is up against the wall, nobody can give me a job. And not only when it came to jobs, people needed housing, people want apartments. My mother would be like, oh, I'm gonna ask Brittany who helped her get her apartment. Like, my mother, like, if I make a book today, she'll be like, I'll ask who Brittany's publisher was. Like, bitch, if I get my hair done, oh, I'm gonna ask who did Brittany's hair. And okay, I get it. Like, maybe she feels like, you know, she likes the way I do my hair, or the way I carry, like, oh, I can ask Brittany. Like, Brittany know everything. Brittany can give you the connect. And I did. Like, when people needed places to stay, she'd be like, oh, I'm gonna ask Brittany for her realtor's number. Da-da-da-da-da. And that was the other thing. I had wanted to move out because I had to move back into my parents' house, and then me and family wanted to move in together or whatever. And we was looking for apartments during the pandemic. I could give niggas numbers to get apartments and shit like that, but can't nobody do the same for me. And I understand that you're supposed to do things from the heart, and I'm big on that. I'm 100% big on that. And the reason why I know I'm 100% big on that, because I didn't have that revelation until fucking 2020, until my back was up against the wall. You feel me? And that's my thing, is like, all right, you always coming to me, asking me, like, imagine somebody always coming up to you, asking you constantly for shit. I need. Can you help this person? And you really fall through, though. You really fall through on it. And not only that, and see, this episode was about misery, and it's really sounded like this episode was getting crazy, but I'm just trying to get to my point. Not only that, one thing with my mother too is that she'll recommend people to like work at my job, or oh, Brittany, give this person your realtor's number, connect them with this person, and the people be doing dumb shit. That's make the situation even more worse. Okay, like, you know, I'm not gonna say no names, but if you watching, you know, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. Because she a good person. But you know what I'm saying. So my mother told me to give her friend's daughter a job or whatever, and I swore my mother, I'm like, that place, Forever 21, one of Green Acres Mall, a miserable person was working there. We're gonna talk about miserableness. We're gonna talk about her. I don't give a fuck about. But we'll get into that. And the energy there was just toxic. You ever worked in a toxic work environment? So I was like, I don't really know if A, B, and C want to work here. I'm gonna call her Lene. I'm gonna call the girl Lene. I'm like, I don't know if Lene should work here because I know how her mother give it up. I know her mother is very, I'm sorry, it's kids playing outside, so whatever, sorry guys. Lene's mother is the type of mother that's really protective over her kids. Like, I always remember that. And so I was like, I don't know if Lene should work here because they give it up nasty in here. Like, real talk, it's real toxic in here. Like it was a real toxic store. But she wanted the job. My mother was like, Brittany, just let her try it. I'm just like, all right, let Lene work here. Lene want to work here so bad, bitch. Then, around the time when Lene came in, I was trying to get the fuck out. But I got Lene in. I had went on a 2-week vacation. While I'm on two-week vacation, my phone go ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. So I'm like, okay, this is Lene's mother calling me. So Lene's mother called me like, oh, hey, Brittany, an incident happened with Lene. And somebody was being rude to her at XYZ8543. Boom, no problem. So this is my thing. It's like, I understand completely how rude and nasty my management team could be, and sometimes the staff could be, and they be just dragging it sometimes, right? But also, you know, you gotta nuck if you buck. Like, it's people in there that work in there. Like, I deal with the bullshit, and I'm not saying to tolerate that because I don't believe in staying in a toxic environment. It was just retail. It was just a little, you know, $12 gig. It's nothing to stay in forever. Like, if you want to quit, sis. You feel me? Per. But I don't want to say per. But at the end of the day, Lene stayed there for 2 weeks and then quit. Boom. My mother asks me to link my aunt with my realtor to get an apartment. I already knew that, well, I wasn't 100% sure actually, because I don't know how much money this person makes or anything like that, but I knew that where she lived, her rent was low because she'd been living there for years. She was living in Bed-Stuy when rent was dirt cheap, so I knew her rent was nothing compared to what it is market rate right now. So I'm like, I asked my mother, I'm like, is she willing to pay double what she's paying now for rent? Because she don't want to live where she lived, because she said the landlord was like stressing her out and stuff like that and trying to get her out. I don't know why specifically. And my mother was like, I don't know, Brittany, just give her the number, be nice. And I'm just like, y'all fucking up my connects. Like, respectfully, like. So I be Brittany, I be nice. I gave her the number. She didn't fall through with it. She was like, the rent numbers is too high. Like, come on, sis, you gotta do your research. And that's the other thing too with people. When you, sometimes with things, this is why I also don't like giving advice. And that's why I also feel like you can't just throw everything to people, is because people is not educated. It's one thing if you throw somebody way who's real educated at something. Like, if somebody want to open a business right now or something, and they real savvy with business, or they like, yo, Britt, like, I've seen them flourish in business and then all this thing environment, and they ask me like, yo, Britt, I saw you know a vendor for fucking the eyelashes. Send me the link. I'm gonna send you the link. You feel me? But you be sending your link to anybody and they don't even know what the fuck they doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never did no research on the market rate. You didn't, like, you still, even if somebody gives you a link, but a link to, let's say, get an apartment, you should still educate yourself on how much apartments cost right now. You should know that, because you don't want to waste people's time. And that's what I felt like. I wasted his time, and I don't want to waste his time. I don't want to waste my manager's time. They doing paperwork and you not built, like certain stuff like that. But anyway, moving forward, she basically always got me doing shit for people. So I said to her, yo, I'm here looking for an apartment. Me and Femi both looking for an apartment. We over here struggle, duggle, buggle. I'm over here looking for a job. But all since I've been working, right? All since Brittany been a manager, anytime my mother asked me to get somebody a job, get somebody this, get somebody that, Brittany did it. Now her back up against the wall. You ain't even asked a spirit, a soul, a heart, a mind. Oh, do you have a job for my daughter? Now tell me how you would feel. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like, I understand that. And her people's work. My mother works. She has a decent job. Like, so I felt some type of way. And I was like getting rowdy. And I was getting upset. And I was being pregnant. And I even started crying and stuff. And I cried after she told me I was miserable. So she called me miserable because I was complaining about everything I just told y'all. So that's the other thing. Is like, how is that being miserable? Because I'm telling you the truth? Because I'm spilling out a tea? Am I wrong? Like, that's crazy. And it taught me a lot. And I was so happy. Like, those are one of the things, too, I'm happy about with the pandemic. I talk about the pandemic and things it taught you. Is like, damn, like, fuck. Like, when my back was up against the wall, all these fucking little kids that I gave a fucking job, gave people this plug, gave people that. If you call me and you say, look, I want to work at this job or that job, I'm going to give you the tea. That's first and foremost. And that's what I did with Lene. I gave them the tea. I said, look, these motherfuckers in here is nasty, rude. They ain't got no home training. Their mama ain't raised them properly. I'm letting y'all know right now. Because I used to tell my friends that. Because I used to have some people be like, oh, Brittany, I want you. I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable you working in this work environment. Because I don't want to put you in no situation where you feel disrespected. Now I worked there and you like, oh, Brittany didn't do X, Y, and Z. And they mad nasty in there. And it's like, you get what I'm saying? But anyway, but if you beg me and you say, hey, look, I want the job, I'll put you in it. I'll put you in it, bitch. I'll do it. But it just taught me, like, damn, like, I really help people get in certain positions, and you know, nobody could help my black ass. The fuck? So yeah, I'm really big on that, or whatever the case may be. Like, really big on that. Or whatever. But it also goes to show you too that I feel like people be using the word miserable real loose, like real loose. I don't feel like somebody who constantly, because all right, sometimes people who often express themselves express everything they mad about, everything they angry about, it reads off as miserable, right? And that could be true in a sense, but sometimes, like, some people that I think are miserable, what I noticed that is that they're very outspoken and they say the truth all the time, and some people read it as miserable. I don't agree with that. It's all about how often you say the truth and how you say it. I think some people just be saying the truth, spilling their truth, spilling their heart out, or whatever the case may be, and they just be doing shit to be malice. And they just be saying it mad nasty. They be getting angry about unnecessary bullshit. Like, just unnecessary shit. I'm trying to think about stuff that people, like, you ever, like, worked with somebody or knew somebody who just be being mad? Like they fucking, they'll drop a piece of fucking tomato sauce like this tiny on their pants. Now they mad and miserable and hate everybody in the society all day. That's really miserable to me. If a little piece of tomato sauce fall on my pants, I'm gonna be tight because I'm like, fuck, I gotta walk around with this fucking tomato paste in my pants. I'm gonna try to clean it out. I'm gonna do what I can, but I'm not gonna be angry all fucking day. I'm probably not gonna even want to go home. I'm not gonna give a fuck. If it's little, if it's big, well then bitch, we gotta go home. But I'm just saying, like, it be minuscule stuff that miserable people be getting mad over, or miserable people just find anything to be mad at. Like, they'll look in a room and be like, what the fuck am I getting mad about today? This shit looks sloppy over here in the corner. Like, it's just I don't know. And then I want to say another thing too that people do. They like to do is, like, what miserable people, well, people like to do is say that people are miserable because they're not in a relationship, they're not getting no dick. They like to say that about women. Men could be miserable too. I think Kevin Samuels is miserable. We'll get into that, bitch. I think all men who, like, thrive on hating women are fucking miserable. But So let's talk about the correlation between, you know, dating, relationships, and miserableness. Misery. Oh, misery sounds really bad too. That's why I don't like saying misery. But anyway, for the most part, I do feel like in some ways there can be a slight connection to misery in dating and relationships. I'll be honest. But is it misery though? It depends on how long you've been single for, how long you ain't get no dick. Like if you've been mad single, ain't even smashing nothing for maybe 2 years, yeah, you might get a little miserable. I agree with that. Cause even like in the house, like for me is really, you know, just doing the do. We don't even argue like that. And I was just telling him that. I'm like, yo, every time we do the nasty, we don't ever really argue. Like we be having a good ass fucking day. You feel me? But when we don't do it for a long time, that's all of a sudden everybody got tension in their spirit. Everybody be bored. Everybody want to argue. And that's why when people in relationships and they be having sex and they still be mad, I be thinking in my head like, bitch, what's the problem? What's going on in your household? That's why I don't trust miserable people in relationships. I really don't. I don't trust that shit. It's one thing to be depressed, because I feel like you could be depressed and still be in a relationship because there's just so many aspects of your life besides just being in love that could bother you. But if you really like miserable and you got a whole entire man, bitch, what are we doing? And you angry and you mad all the time. I don't trust people who dead ass in a whole full-blown relationship and they're always angry. That shit is wild suspect to me. Wow, how are you mad? Why are you so mad? What are you upset about? Oh, I can't take miserable people. I don't trust miserable people in general. But anyway, I do think there's a mini correlation between the two. Because even like, I feel like, for instance, when I was like a virgin, When I was a virgin, I felt like, okay, when I was young and a virgin, I wasn't, you know, like I was just having fun. I felt like, you know, I don't know. Like I just felt different. I feel like too, sex really fuck up your brain cells too. Cause I feel like I was way more educated. I'm not saying I'm dumb now. I'm just saying I was more worldly. I was a little more educated. You know, I wasn't worried about penis all the time. You feel me? Then I feel like as I got older and remained a virgin, I wouldn't say I was miserable, but I do feel like I was more angry. Or like even at work, when I got older, if I was at work and I wasn't in a relationship or wasn't nobody on my line, I definitely felt more annoyed easily. That's just me. I really did. I felt way more annoyed easily. Like I was just more annoyed easily. But when I had a boo, if I had got some D the night before, I would come to work mad happy. I'm dead ass serious. Like I would be way more happier. I would keep thinking about what happened the day before. Y'all gonna leave me the fuck alone. I'm just saying, like, it might be a mini correlation. Like, I really believe that. I do think there's a correlation. I'm just saying. Like, there is a correlation. I'm putting it out there. I don't have facts and statistics to prove it, but I think there is a correlation between when bitches is getting dick and when they not. And niggas too. When they getting pussy, or if you into dick, bitch, whatever you into, if you ain't getting none, you get a little more miserable. I agree. I stand by that statement, bitch. And also, that's why I don't trust people in relationships who's always angry, because I feel like they be top 5 miserable. Or who, I feel like either they're in a relationship and that relationship is not sturdy, like it's really unsturdy. Like, I remember I used to work with this girl. I love work. So I remember I used to work with this girl and she was in a relationship. She always was talking about her boyfriend. I'm gonna tell her business, and if she bitch, if you want to fight me, you can fight me. I ain't gonna say her name, but I'm gonna tell you the fucking story, because I'm quite sure she don't fucking listen to the pod. But bitch, if you ever run to this episode, you know it's you, and you're a fucking embarrassment, and you was wild disrespectful, and you was a cornball, and you was angry, and you was miserable. Shout out to Misery episode. So let me tell y'all this fucking crazy ass story. So I was working with this girl. She was young. Yeah, she was young. I think at the time she was 23. I want to say 23. Yeah, I think she was 23. She was definitely 23. Whatever. She was dating some older guy. He was the fucking... what? All right, I'm not gonna say what company, the real company he worked for, but he worked for one of them. So I'm gonna say he worked for DHL. So bitch, you know he worked for either UPS or FedEx or USPS, right? So he worked for DHL or whatever, and he used to come and deliver like packages to our store or whatever the case may be. Boom. She thought he was so cute. He was Spanish. She was Spanish. Whatever. He was cute. He was a cute guy. He was older. He looked actually relatively young. He looked relatively young for his age. When she told me how old he actually was, I was like shocked or whatever. But he was about 37 and she was 23. So that was already like kind of a mini red flag. I get it, like older guys date younger girls, but he was just reading red flags, baby. And let me tell you something. I ain't got proof for this either, but don't you know how they be making them little posts on Instagram? Don't trust niggas who work for FedEx, UPS, USPS, all them niggas with them decent good jobs like that be having mad kids, respectfully, because they need that job. Those jobs be good, be having good pension plans, 401k, all that shit. Dumb niggas be wifed up having kids, my nigga, respectfully. But so beware them UPS niggas. If they not young, if they not like 21, they might not be wifed up with kids. Might. But majority of them niggas, if they 25 and over, sus. Moving on. So she was dating him or whatever, and she kept saying, yeah, that's my boyfriend. But he would always act weird around her. She had a nice body. She had like a big ass butt. Like her butt was massive. It was like the type of butt that, and this was no surgery, honey. This was all her. So I felt like, oh, so he was enticed by that. She was a cute girl. She was okay. She looked angry. She was so miserable. She looked angry. We gonna pray for miserable. So she was just always mad. And I'm just like, bitch, you got a whole man. You're 23. You're in school. You got a job. What the fuck is you mad about? Like, what's good? Damn. That's why I don't like miserable people. Like, for real talk. Like, niggas be mad for no reason. Like, stop. What are you mad about? What are you mad about? What are you upset about? What the fuck are you mad about? So, anyway, she just always was angry. She would argue with customers all the time. Like, she would find anything to argue about. They'd be like, can you fold my shirt? She'd be like, we don't fold shirt. Like, she would get into so many arguments. We would get so much customer complaints because of her. It was crazy. That's when I tell you miserable, I'm telling you miserable. She was so miserable. So anyway, she was dating this DHL nigga, and he was 37 at the time. She was 23, and she just always would talk about him. Like, that's the only thing she would talk about. Like, she just talk about her boyfriend. But when she would talk about him, it was reading like, this nigga don't like you. Like, she was like, yeah, he didn't answer my phone. We went out to eat. I really love him, blah, blah, blah. He has a son or whatever. So he had one son. She told him that he had a son, which was cool. No problem. So she was like, yeah, I keep telling him I want his son to meet my niece, because she had a niece that she just adored, which I thought it was a cute side of her. But she was a little mean to the little girl too, bitch. Sometimes she was mean to the girl, child. Miserable people, keep away from your kids, honey. But whatever, it was just reading like something was going on the side. That's what it was giving. Because one minute he would be like, oh, I can't make it here, I can't do this. Like, it was just a weird connection between them. So all of us in the store knew about this. That's how obsessed she was with this man, honey. This grown ass man. Or the whole store knew about him. I forgot his name, but we're gonna call him DHL, and we're gonna call her Lisa. So Lisa's obsessing over DHL or whatever the case may be. And then one day DHL said, yo, I want to move to Florida because I'm going to do my barbershop business out there. Okay. Guess what this bitch say? She said she'll move out there with him. I felt like when he said he wanted to move to Florida, he said that so that she could be like, well, nigga, I ain't moving to Florida, so I guess this relationship was over. She was on that type of time. She was ready to move for her man. So fast forward, she's like, oh, okay, I'm trying to think of a month. Let's say it's May, June, July. She said, so it's May. She's like, oh, he said in August we moving to Florida. He said he'll move to Florida with me. He already got a house down there. He showed me pictures of the house. The pictures of the house look mad fake, bogus. Like, it just seemed like he found pictures online, all that shit. So then she's like, so I want to get transferred from this location to a location in Florida. So, okay, let me pick a fake store that I worked at. I worked at mad stores in real life. So let's say we worked at Levi. So she's like, I want to get transferred from a Levi in New York City to a Levi in Florida. No problem. So she decides to transfer from a Levi in New York City to a Levi in Florida because her man wants to move there. So she goes through the process and everything of transferring to this Levi in Florida. She starts packing her bags. She's begging our boss to like get her to transfer. The transfer goes through. The store is mad hype. Everybody's lit. It's like, yes. Guess what the fuck happens? Mind you, I was working at this store for 2 years. She was dating this man. No, I was working there for like a year and a half. She was dating this man for like a full year, y'all. Since I met her. I don't know how long she was dating him prior. So around the time when she finally get her transfer, so she got accepted into the store in Florida. She starts packing her bags. The store puts on the schedule, everything. It was ridiculous. His sister, DHL's sister, calls Lisa's phone. He calls her phone. And she tells, the sister of DHL tells her like, look, he's married. He has 3 kids. So bitch, he only brought up 1 kid. This nigga got 3 kids. A whole wife. And the sister's like, yes, he's married. He's not moving to Florida. He doesn't want to be with you anymore. Yeah, he's married with 3 kids. Like, it's... But all of us in the store, every time she would talk about him, we knew that nigga was no good. Did I think he was married with 3 kids? No. I was just like, whoa. Like, the lies. Like, I was a little taken back or whatever by that. And another thing I was hurt by too was that she was like one of those girls that was tricking. Like, my thing is that's a nigga you can't trust either. Like, she was like, oh, what you want for Christmas? This nigga sent her a list. Like, he was 5 or 10. Sent her a Christmas list, and she bought all the shit on the Christmas list. And that was my issue too, was that you a grown ass fucking man manipulating this young ass girl. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, whatever. And she bought him all of this stuff, and it was just nasty. And you made her go get a transfer to another job, and stay woke, y'all, for real. So anyway, the sister calls him. I guess he was scared to tell her, like, yo, and then he didn't want to talk to her. Then the wife spoke to her, and the wife was like, how long was this going on? And she told the wife and stuff like that. She was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, he told me he loved me, blah, 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 blah. And then it was just bad. And then he eventually told her, like, I was using you for escape. He said it, and she didn't want to believe it or whatever. And then eventually she left the store too. She was like, you know, I just want to go get a new job and move on. I don't know if she felt embarrassed because we didn't really care. We didn't really, like, we cared. Like, one of the workers started crying for her, but we didn't really care. Like, we wouldn't have been like, oh, remember that time when that nigga pretended to move to Florida? But she left the job and stuff because of it. I don't think it was because of that. I'm not 100% sure. Let me not quote. But she was miserable as fuck. Let's just put it that way. And I felt like because deep in her heart, she knew her nigga was up to no good. So that's why I don't trust people in relationships that's miserable, that's angry all the time. Because, bitch, why are you so fucking angry? I felt like she was so angry because she knew deep in her heart she was in a fake-ass relationship. Like, that's why I felt like she was so angry. And and then she told me other stories about her. Like, she just sucked at relationships. Like, she had also gotten into a relationship with one of the guys at the stores next door. And the guy cheated on her with another girl at the store. So she was just going through a lot. You know? And she was miserable. So I do think there's a correlation between bad relationships, no dick, no pussy, whatever you into, and being miserable. I really do. I think there's a big ass correlation between the two. Just like what Kevin Samuels, he's been through 2 divorces. I feel like maybe something happened with him and his mother. Maybe one of his aunts touched him. You know, no shame. I'm being real. And he has a problem with women. Like that. when I see a guy like Kevin Samuels, yeah, we might laugh, we might joke. Well, I don't think none of that shit is funny. Or, you know, they glorify that shit, but I think he's miserable. When I look at him, I see him as a miserable ass person. You gotta be miserable as fuck to bash one female community, like niggas like that, and then his fan base is miserable. Them niggas is the type of niggas that don't get pussy. Them niggas is the type of niggas that they feel like because one black girl or a couple of black girls told them no, that black women don't like them, so they date out of their race. Black women don't dislike you. It's just the black woman you was trying to seek didn't like you, dummy. Like, those type of people are miserable to me. I really think Kevin Samuels is miserable. I think that even if he was to get in a relationship, he would be mad annoying. He would be mad angry, mad miserable, and asking for your dress up. A nigga that'll sit in front of a camera and say, what's your dress size? That nigga's a clown. Like, come on, let's be honest. Like, that nigga's a clown. Like, he's an actual fucking clown. Like, he's miserable. Like, people like that read miserable to me. Like, that's just my opinion. So, yeah, I do think there's a big correlation with dating. I do feel like that. I feel like after a while, when you not in a relationship for too long, you get miserable. And, of course, you can be in a relationship as well and be miserable as fuck. Like, you can. And I think that's when something is going on in the relationship. And I don't think that's the only part. I think, obviously, you could go through mad shit and trauma in your life that none of us may be privy to. And you can be just miserable. And that's when you need to go get therapy. You need to go get help, bitch. But the thing with miserable people, they don't do therapy. Miserable people don't do therapy. They be so fucking angry. Like, they be like, why would I go to therapy? Why would I do that? That's some dumb shit. Like, that's what miserable people read to me. Or they feel like they don't have time to go to therapy. Like, it's either they think it's dumb or they think they don't have time. I'm not going to therapy. I don't have that type of time. Or other miserable people too, I feel like are some people who are just so consumed in their job. Like, when I was consumed in my job, I felt like I was miserable. Like, okay, now let me step back, because that's not true, because I'm always consumed in my job. But like, when I'm real obsessed with my job, like, people who are really obsessed, like people I work with that's like obsessed. Like, you ever met somebody who's obsessed with their job? I feel like they be reading miserable, because they ain't got nothing better to do. Like, you so obsessed with your job. Imagine think of your job. If it ain't like dope, like, unless you like an influencer or you like a bitch that get money, even those people. Imagine being obsessed with your job. Like, think about that. Like, people who's really obsessed, a lot of them motherfuckers be miserable as fuck. Like, all they give a fuck about is their job. Like, y'all know the motherfuckers at the job they've been there for like 25 plus years, 10 years, bitch, maybe even 5, and they just know everything about the company, bitch. They know the founder, they know the year it created, they know everything about the computer system, they know tricks and gadgets and gets and boots and Tims and twos of the whole fucking store, the whole company, bitch. And that's all they give a fuck about. They can't talk about nothing but the company. Miserable. They be top 5 miserable, my nigga. Like, I be like, bitch, do you have a life outside of this damn job? And they be angry, mad. Mad they ain't the fucking manager. Mad they ain't the CEO. Bitch, you thought you was gonna be the CEO just because you know everything about the company? Did you create it? Did you create the job? Did you create the company? What you expected? You're acting like the CEO on a motherfucking sales associate salary. Go sit down. Like, stop. Jesus. What are we gonna do? I can't with the miserable. I don't know why I did this topic. And I have so many stories because I worked around so many of them. And how do we deal with miserable people? Let's talk about that. Some cases you can't stay away, because I would say stay far away, right? Stay away when you don't need to be around a person, but sometimes you just gotta deal with them. And how I deal with miserable people is just, you know, it's not easy. It's hard. It's very hard. You gotta have so much grace. You gotta be in tune with the Lord. It's unfortunate when you gotta say you gotta be in tune with the Lord. You do. You just gotta have so much grace and so much patience, and also just create boundaries. These are not people you want to be around 24/7, obviously. Even if you at work, only time you should be communicating with this person is when you need to. Even I felt like with the girl who was dating DHL, her even feeling she could come to me about her dating life, I felt that I needed to create a boundary. That was too much. We shouldn't even have that type of relationship. Y'all shouldn't be building relationships like that with miserable people, because misery loves company. So if you have to communicate with miserable people, like, even if it's family, sometimes you gotta communicate with your family. Sometimes you gotta communicate with your friends. Step back. Say, look, we're gonna be together at the family gathering, bitch, but me and you can't do dinner alone. We ain't doing that. You know that. You know, at work, this is not somebody you would go eat lunch with, because, bitch, they miserable. They probably want to eat lunch with you. But, you know, don't do too much communication with them. Don't try to do no group projects with them, bitch. Like, just stray far, far away. If you got to do a group project with them, say, look, I'll do it all. You just get a nap. Get some sleep, bitch. Like, you want to have low to no communication with miserable people. Or learn how to communicate with them. Say, I can't be around them. Maybe we could talk on the phone occasionally. I don't know. I don't even think talking on the phone with a miserable person is healthy either. I really think it's best to stay as far away from them as you can. To be honest. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not going to come up here and lie. Like, you really should stay away. Stay away. Stay away. Yo, I'm just here to educate, bitch. That's the only way you can really deal with them. And like I said, most miserable people I know, they don't want therapy. Y'all know what a miserable person is. Did we talk about that? They just be mad. Like, they just be mad. I don't like that. Miserable people scare the fuck out of me. Cause why you mad? Like, I get life is not easy. Like, this life shit is not easy. I understand 105%, bitch. I get it. I get it. But it's just like, chill out. Like, why are you so mad? Why are you so miserable? Like, I get it's not easy, but I feel like, I would feel like if you mad all the time, you making life way harder than it needs to be. Y'all don't think so? Like, I would think that if you miserable, you probably making life mad hard. You probably always got a headache. You probably got high blood pressure. Your eyes probably hurt, because, like, miserable people, they got, like, these angry ass eyes. Like, I might do an episode on eyes. I be seeing craziness in people's eyes. I be seeing misery in people's eyes. Like, it's just like how people say people have a sunny disposition. Like, they look like presentable, like somebody you feel comfortable they look approachable. Like, miserable people, you could just tell, like, you could all rip this. I'm telling you, it's an aesthetic. It's a look. So, girl, shout outs to misery. But misery loves company. So make sure you staying away from miserable people, bitch. Yes. And that's Britt Says. This episode flowed easier than I thought it would, because I had mad stories per usual for something like this. Of course, when you work in retail, and y'all know, when you work in customer service, you dealing with people, you gonna meet a lot of miserable people. If I wanted to, this episode could have been 5 hours long, bitch. Not even just people you work with, just the customers, and just even in life in general. You know, it is what it is. You can think about school. It is what it is. Miserable people are everywhere you look. They all over you. And it's up to you to decide if you want to keep in company with that. And you should never, that's one thing, you should never be around miserable people. Period. Unless deemed, like, if it's a family member, even a friend, I don't know how you get miserable. Sometimes you could get miserable friend, I guess, whatever. I don't think, and misery could be temporary too, I feel like. People can have a moment where they just fucking miserable and they might get out of it. But there's people who just, like, it's just real hard for them to get off the funk. But, like I said, just, if it's family, because you can't run away from family, bitch. Just create boundaries. Like, that's it. That's all you could do, is just separate yourself from that person and just create those boundaries. That's it. So, yes. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Stay away from misery. And if you miserable, check yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I ain't hear that in that long. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe if you're streaming. Make sure you leave a comment, leave 5 stars. Follow me on Instagram _Instagram. And once again, subscribe. And we will see you guys. I will see you guys when? Next week. Bye.